Everybody ready?
We're ready when you are.
All right. I will call the planning board meeting of Tuesday, November 1st to order at 7:02. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. Thank you. Our first order of business is a minor modification of Jellystone Park, Cranberry Acres, 20 Shoestring Road. Minor modification to water park. It is being continued at the request of the applicant until 11/22/22. Apparently their Conservation Commission hearing in regards to this is, so they haven't had a chance to address the issues that we raised. All right. I don't think we need to vote on that. And our next order of business is a closed or public hearing on the application of Prolio Concrete Forms, Inc., requesting a site plan review for property located at 0 Forest Street in Carver, Mass. in the General Business Zoning District. The applicant proposes the construction of a single commercial building, associated utilities, stormwater control, parking lots, and access drives. The building will be used as a craftsman, tradesman building. We opened up deliberations in regards to a draft opinion at the last meeting. I see new evidence has been presented, but that's in violation of the open meeting law. No new evidence or testimony can be introduced after the close of the public hearing, and as deliberations have already started, it would be a violation to discuss them. On the other hand, there will be a special permit hearing where new evidence can be introduced in regards to this project. All right. At this time, the board will accept the motion in regards to the application of Prolio Concrete site plan review for 0 Forest Street in Carver, Mass.
Do we want to read through the conditions?
Well, we definitely do want to do that, but we might do it during the discussion period so that we can discuss the conditions and change any at this point that we feel.
And so what are you asking for then?
Just a motion in regards to it so we can open it up for discussion.
Open it up for discussion. All right, so moved.
Motion made by Mr. Gatsky.
I'll second it.
Seconded by Mr. Dion. All right. I've been presented with a whole bunch of drafts in regards to this. I'm not sure where to go with it. I did notice that all the waivers requested by the applicant were not listed, so I would request that all the waivers of the applicant be listed in the draft, including in regards to the requirement that special permits and site plans be done at the same time, and certain items that weren't included on the site plan at the time that they were presented. So we're all on the same draft. Which draft are we all looking at? Mine has red writing on it, on the third page. These were the specific conditions that were discussed. Meeting.
I do not have red writing.
Yeah, I do not have
I
red.
think you have the only one.
Page 4? No?
No.
All right.
We have,
I've got the
No.
if you'd like to see what I have,
I have
We
number
have-
8 highlighted.
updated.
Well, we can't accept new testimony
Right.
at this time.
So I
But
have
the
number
conditions,
8.
I have this as far as the conditions are concerned,
So we got,
permitting department.
So you don't have red on yours.
number 8 is highlighted on, as far as one of the conditions on one of them, and I'm looking at the other one. Well, both of them are,
So it must be in this file.
That one set was,
looks like I had the, looks like I had the same one.
one,
You guys got yellow highlighting on yours?
Page
Well,
4.
no, these are what you don't, what you can't
Oh,
discuss.
Um,
But the ones that have the, see the ones that state the town of Carver? And yeah, I don't have, what do you have, highlight on what page?
Page 4?
Page 4.
You have highlighting on page 4?
What is highlighted on page 4? Number 8.
Number 8?
Right, trucks shall be prohibited.
It's not highlighted like
It's not highlighted, but I have 2 copies. I don't know if I'm supposed to. Maybe because,
That's not the copy. That's one, a different one.
That's one,
So I'm thinking it's that one. See if
okay. Well, why would I have 2, right?
should be.
I have
Just to
4.
make it, you have 4, that's great.
He presented two different, depending on
No.
what we wanted to go.
Both of mine
We decided on,
are the same.
So it's a,
so if we decided to allow.
number 8, trucks shall be, so I think this was the one that we agreed upon last week. And that's the one we'll discuss.
That was done.
It says,
Bob was taken.
who authorized that.
I think these two have, one allows any kind of truck to come.
We
Yes.
deliberated
Right.
last Tuesday on this. How does it
Tonight,
change them now?
right, so I will read off. And again, it's noted that not all the waivers were listed in
We
this.
asked the board if they had any questions or any
So,
issues with it.
gentlemen,
Yes,
I'm going to read the conditions,
okay,
and then we can open it for discussion.
I'll do that. Just so you know, my 2 copies are the same. So if anybody else has 2 copies that are the same, that might be different from mine, then,
You both have yellows.
yeah, both of mine have yellow.
You have both yellows?
Yes,
Mine doesn't have
You're
the,
welcome to have one of mine that isn't highlighted.
That one's different than the yellow.
okay, yep, there you go.
So,
Oh,
um,
you have the yellow one, okay, thank you, yep, this'll
We
work.
don't have those
So-
either.
so I'm going to read off the conditions. If anybody wants to open them for discussion, please just let the board know, and we will open any and all for discussion. All right. Conditions. Prior to the issuance of a building permit, a true copy of the recorded decision as registered at the Plymouth County Registry of Deeds shall be submitted to the Planning and Permitting Office. Number 2, the project must be constructed as approved in the site plan. Any other revisions will require approval from the board as a modification to this decision. Number 3, the applicant is responsible for the proper operation and maintenance of the site. During construction, sedimentation and soil erosion controls shall be installed, repaired, and supplemented as needed. Dust control is required during construction, and the roadway apron is to be kept swept and clear of any dust, dirt, or debris. A copy of an operations and maintenance plan shall be submitted to the town and Fuss and O'Neill prior to the issuance of a building permit. Number 4, approval of a special permit that is required per section 4341 for any use where more than 10,000 square feet of any lot would be rendered impervious, excluding roadways. And so I will open this discussion, and it should say, must be approved under special permit, if that's acceptable. Is that acceptable, Mr. Dion?
It's approval by special permit. Is that what you said?
All right, so I'll reread number 4. Approval of a special permit, well, I suppose it probably says that.
Yeah, it does.
Under a condition, approval of a special permit as required per section 4341 for any use for more than 10,000 square feet of any lot would be rendered impervious excluding roadways. So I will rescind my request for discussion.
Well, on this, so it seems to me like it's just kind of a note as opposed to saying that, that this is, that the approval is a condition.
Right.
It says it's a condition.
So,
I don't know, I'm not a fan of the wording.
if I may,
Sure.
last week, a special permit is required. And we didn't have an issue with that. Approval of a special permit, that is required. So I would think you would need a special permit required for the use of more than 10,000 square feet.
Right.
That's where I would go with it.
So that,
You would need a special permit, is required.
it seems to me that this would be null and void without that approval, as the language states.
Like I said, I don't like the wording, but it just seems, it seems a little ambiguous. But, I mean, it notes that something about a special permit, but it's, yeah, maybe I'm just nitpicking. But I'll drop it. If everybody else is okay with it, I'll drop it. Like I said, not a fan of the wording. It's too passive.
Any other thoughts or comments in regards to condition number 4? All right, condition number 5. Pursuant to section 3213 and 3215, screening from residential properties must be achieved and maintained year-round, as well as visual screening of all parking areas from Forest Street and abutting properties shall be established and maintained. A landscaping plan must be submitted to Fuss and O'Neill for approval and included in site plans. Number 6, only household quantities of any hazardous material are permitted. Number 7, prospective tenants will need to consult with Carver building and fire officials prior to occupying their respective units. Number 8, truck deliveries shall be limited to box trucks. Trucks shall be prohibited from stopping, standing, or unloading on Forest Street.
Hold up. It's not what mine says. Okay, there we go.
I don't have that one, so it's
You don't-
okay. I can read it from yours and it's fine.
Is that the one you have?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, so the highlighted yellow one is the one that you're reading from.
I am. Number 9, the dumpster pad shall be bermed and any runoff from the dumpster pad shall be contained to the catch basins on site. Number 10, a vermin control plan shall be submitted to the Board of Health for the property. Number 11, a bike rack per Carver zoning bylaw, section 3345, is required. Number 12, per Carver zoning bylaw, section 3131K, separate sign permit application required where new signage is proposed included at the site entrance. Number 13, prior to the issuance of a certificate of use and occupancy, A, any outstanding balance of the review and inspections deposit account shall be paid. B, as-built plans shall be submitted to the town's engineer and planning department in both electronic and hard copy form prior to the final inspection. And C, in accordance with Section 3180 compliance of the Carver zoning bylaws, the town's engineer shall inspect the project to ensure that it has been completed in compliance with the approved site plan and its conditions. Number 14, hours of operation shall be within the hours of Monday through Friday, 7 a.m. to 7 p.m., and Saturdays, 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. And now, 15 is changed in regards to what we discussed last week. So, number 15, all exterior lighting shall be full cutoff fixtures, having either motion sensor controls, integrative PC cells, photo sensors, or astronomic time clock operation to limit lighting when there is adequate daylight and to minimize unnecessary lighting after business hours. I did have a discussion with Tom, and he felt that motion sensitive lighting for security purposes would be appropriate, and I feel that's something that I personally overlooked. So he changed number 15 so to account for that. Number 16, snow must be removed from the site or infiltrated through infiltration basins from impervious surfaces as provided for on a plan approved by Fuss & O'Neill and included in site plans. Number 17, public access is prohibited from the site. Number 18, storage of materials must be screened from view from public roadways and bordering residential agricultural properties and must be in identified areas on site plan and approved by Fuss & O'Neill. That is the full text of the condition. So aside from 2 waivers that were requested, the board is satisfied with the draft proposal?
May I ask a question?
Please, absolutely.
On number 13, the town's engineer is going to inspect the project to ensure that it has been completed in compliance. Is that something that goes on annually, or is it just for that particular project?
It's generally when they request for the certificate of occupancy or to fulfill the building permit, then the engineer will go and review the project and make sure that as it was proposed to us is what's being done. I know there was some confusion over the 5 different bays, but that's things that he's supposed to check on in regards to any project in regards to this is what you said you were going to do, this is what you agreed to do, and it meets the board's expectations.
Thank you.
Who enforces all these rules?
Enforcement is generally left up to the building inspector and planning department. In regards to special permits, if we find that enforcement is an issue or that repeated attempts at enforcement have not met with appropriate results, under special permits, the board can revisit any special permit.
So if a UPS truck stops on Forest Street, who's gonna come to?
I don't see why anybody would, because it's,
Well, it says they're prohibited from stopping, it doesn't mean they won't.
well, You mean, do you mean a tractor trailer or other than?
A UPS truck stops in front of 19 houses every time you go down the road. FedEx,
Right.
UPS,
It would have to be brought to the notice of the building inspector, and a complaint would need to be filed in regards to that. In regards to box trucks, they're generally not prohibited in this town from stopping on the side of the road.
they would be here. This would be different.
So,
If they're not generally,
Being prohibited from stopping on Fourth Street for,
and we have
for,
control over the
for
loads
load,
of the
for
police
loading
department.
for loading and unloading, because he's stopping at a business that has 5 load bays.
So the Dunkin' Donuts tractor trailer that blocks the entire Dunkin' Donuts when they deliver.
oh, that should be brought to the attention, but Dunkin' Donuts might not have the facilities to,
They may also
Pull
have a
in.
waiver that the truck can stop there.
right, that's a
Well, I don't know,
I get your point, that they shouldn't be.
Call the truck at across the street at Cumberland Farms. I mean,
They pull in the lot, well, I don't know over here, but up in North Carver, I know they do. But again, these are the problems that down the line we're trying to address at this point in time, and setting reasonable conditions in regards to that.
and we can, so if there's a plumbing store there and he orders 25 toilets and put it on a tractor trailer, and it comes from New Jersey, and it gets up here to Forest Street, we're interfering with interstate commerce and he can't deliver them?
Well, no, that's a logistical problem involving with the business or owner, not the town.
The other difference too is it's Main Street, which is probably what, a 55-foot wide road versus a 20-foot.
Well, the area is
That would
owned
be a big
commercial, correct?
difference. No,
It's own,
Business,
it
well,
is, I believe in here, that it is
It's a general business district.
general business district.
And the road conditions were pre-existing when it was owned general business, and now we're restricting the use of the business.
I believe for reasons of health and safety, I believe it would be appropriate.
Big, long letter here and diagram.
We can't, yeah, but that new evidence cannot be introduced after the close of the hearing.
Well, that was part of your questioning back when you were asking about.
We've had several months to get, Mr. Bott, to get a hold of this information. We closed the public hearing, and after that point, no new evidence can be introduced.
Is this new, or is this reaffirming questions that were asked before?
It's
You can
new
discuss
evidence, and
Additions, can't you?
it causes open meeting law problems and becomes an ex parte communication, where the public isn't involved in this. We closed the public hearing, we opened it up for deliberations. At that time, we felt that there was enough evidence to reach our decision in regards to this matter.
Okay.
Plus, again, like I said, they get 2 shots at it because they do have to come back for a special permit, and any new evidence can be introduced at that time. All right. Any further discussion? Seeing none? Mr. Dion?
well,
Do we have a motion on
We had a motion,
so.
We opened up the discussions and read the conditions.
right, but you didn't specify in regards to approve or disapprove in regards to the project. So I will accept a qualifying motion in regards to the project.
All right, I will qualify my motion as to approve the application for.
Wait a minute, you guys are voting on this right now. without the discussion about the trailers or anything that he put in the email. I thought this meeting was closed 3 weeks ago, and I was supposed to.
Excuse me,
last week.
excuse me, you're out of order.
I'm all set.
You're out of order.
This is the most fucking retarded thing I've ever seen in my life. Honestly, a lot. I've been in business 35 fucking years, I've never seen anything like this. Whatever the fuck you want.
Mr. Gatsky, you were qualifying your,
Yes, to approve the application of Priolo Concrete Forms site plan review.
as discussed with the conditions.
As discussed with the conditions, yes.
All right. Mr. Gatsky makes the motion. Do I have a second?
I just have one question, and that was the one we just discussed, right?
That's
One with
We can,
with the box trucks,
the box section.
All right,
I'll
so-
second that.
all right.
one that we
Mr.
just.
Dion seconds.
Yes.
Seconded by Mr. Dion. Now we're opening it for discussion at this point. Does anybody have anything they wish to discuss in regards to this particular matter? Seeing none, Mr. Dion.
Mr. Dion says aye.
John Gasky says aye.
Mr. Robinson?
So, am I saying aye for,
To approve this project under the conditions we just discussed.
what was number, I have to see number 8 again.
Yeah,
I don't have,
I know. I'm going to give you mine.
is limiting it to box trucks. I don't think that, I would have to say no. Mr. Robinson says no.
Ms. Sordillo?
I have to go along with Kevin and say no on that.
And Mr. Shea will say yes, because although there were multiple factors involved in this that were concerning in regards to the project, gravel parking areas inside of a wellhead protection zone, and various other concerns in regards to adequacy of buffering in residential zones. I am voting yes, in part, because of the mitigation in regards to truck deliveries being limited. And my reasons for that is, there's 5 businesses going in there, multiple 18-wheelers showing up and leaving at any time. It is a pinch point for a large residential area, providing access to necessary goods and services for the residents of that particular residential agricultural zone. Tractor trailers are large, loud, disruptive, and present issues to health and safety of residential areas, pedestrians, bicycles. It is a heavily traveled area, and it raises concerns about congestion and safety, the fact that there's no crosswalks, line of sight issues, multiple intersections on side roads not designed for tractor trailers, no turning lanes or bike lanes or sidewalks. A traffic study wasn't done, concerns with impeding of oncoming traffic. It is well traveled by school buses. We don't know if the intersection was designed for tractor trailer traffic down below, but again, these concerns I think are being addressed, as well as my concerns with adequacy of buffering ability to screen residential areas from noise and other disturbances.
May I ask a question?
Please. So,
The part that, and I agree with you on what you say there, but the fact that we have okayed other businesses to have the 18-wheelers, it's almost like not fair to them. As much as I agree with you, I just think that if you're okaying a box truck, you need to okay an 18-wheeler. I don't see really what the difference is between them. And I've asked a few people, but I just think it's unfair to tell him he can't where everybody else could.
Well, you say everybody else, but it was prohibited from the neighboring property, and part of the reasons was it's abutting residential area and character of the neighborhood and concerns over health and safety of pedestrians. But
Which one was it denied on?
99 Forest,
94th Street?
94th, yeah.
94th Street.
94th.
So,
Okay.
Which we all agreed that no trailer trucks be permitted there.
but the vote has been taken. It's been approved 3-2. And again, the proponent will have another opportunity to present us with further information and testimony in regards to this project at a special permit hearing that will address the need for the requirement for a special permit for any property that creates more than 10,000 square feet of impervious surface.
Can I just ask, what is the difference between a box truck and an 18-wheel?
Typically, box trucks are, for the most part, they're less than 26 feet because the requirements over 26 feet require a CDL license due to the weight capacity of it. And in regards, so in general, they can go up to 30 feet, but in general, what you'll see on the roads is somewhere between 16 and 26 feet because it doesn't require a CDL license like UPS trucks are box truck, but that's
What if
that's
one
on
of
the
those
small side.
Larger ones pulled into that property, the larger ones with the CDL drivers, is that almost the same as?
No, a tractor trailer is an articulated truck that includes the tractor and the trailer in regards to it, and they can reach extensive lengths. All right, next order of business is an issuance of a special permit to Ironwood Renewables, 223 Meadow Street, Carver, pursuant to a decision and judgment issued by the Land Court in Ironwood Renewables LLC versus Carver Planning Board, Land Court CA 21 MISC 000488. We received a decision by the courts in regards to Ironwood Renewables and their appeal for denial of a special permit. This falls under Chapter 48 as something that the board has to acknowledge and vote on and file with the town clerk within 14 days of the judgment.
What was the date of the judgment?
I'd have to look it up here.
October 27th?
October 27th. And we won't be meeting for, I believe, 3 weeks from today. So this is something that we should take care of tonight.
No, it would be nice if council had been present for this.
All right. I believe we had a motion on the 8th page.
Yes, Mr. Chairman.
Please.
So this is essentially the initial decision that the board made
Yeah.
September 14th.
I don't have that.
It's been, so I took the first stab at editing that decision, sent it to town council for them to finalize. So the draft that you have is the final document for town council under her advice that the board should vote.
And why is she not here tonight? This is kind of an important thing.
Is that a question I should be addressing, Mr. Chairman?
I'm not, we didn't request her to be here in regards to this. The court made its decision. She reviewed the special permit decision that was denied previously, and reviewed the language in regards to it.
Okay, well, I would like to, I would like to request a motion, or I would like to move that we appeal this decision. Because based on the findings in here, there was several things that were left out of the undisputed facts. And I feel that that we need to be appealing this, and so that our facts, so that the record is complete and accurate.
I agree that certain facts, as discussed with town council in regards to reasons, were left out of this. The problem with an appeal is that no new evidence can be introduced in regards to this.
It's not new evidence, it's evidence that's already present in the record.
It wasn't
It just was
presented
not-
to the court,
It
though.
wasn't presented, how was it not presented to the court?
Oh,
So our
I can't answer that.
Our council did not present a rigorous defense?
I don't know that anybody here
These are
can
the-
answer that.
See, these are the questions that we should be able to ask.
So if I may, Mr. Chairman?
Please.
In the discussion about this decision and bringing it back to the board in the absence of a public hearing, town council recommended doing this at that point rather than be in contempt of court. So right now, we've got an appeal that we have, an appeal that the town has lost. And then you've got the potential for contempt of court if the board doesn't act in that manner. The board can certainly file their own appeal, but that would require town council. To engage town council, that is a request that's made through the town administrator's office. So if the board wanted to, A, vote this decision tonight per town council's recommendation and file it, and then say the board requests town council to take action to appeal this decision that the board just voted per court order, that's likely your best strategy at this point. However, it's pretty clear to town council that the issue is with the bylaw, with the definition of direct abutter, which is one of those topics we're talking about in other meetings at the Solar Bylaw Committee. So I think you have a fairly limited path here. You made a decision, it was appealed, and most of the time when the court decides something, they send it back to the board and remands it back and says, we're going to remand it back and give the applicant and the town another swing at this. That's what you see the vast majority of the time. There are extremely few instances in my career, in 8 years, whatever, in Massachusetts, I forget on, let's call it 25 I've seen only one other decision come back mandated by the court that says, this is what you will vote. I don't know if it's a different judge or a different era, but it's very rare to
Right,
have
and
something
that's-
sent back in that manner.
And that's why I question the defense that town council put up with regards to this case.
Now, I don't know that we have all the documents in regards to this court case either. We have an introduction and a judgment, but I see in the introduction that,
And it looks like it was a summary judgment as well,
Yes.
so I don't see why, again, how there would be, how all of the evidence that we discussed in our open meetings was not presented and addressed with this.
I would agree that many of the issues were not raised in this, and it was left to specifically one particular issue. Regardless, we, as a board, are required to acknowledge the judgment of the court within 14 days. If we, and we can, on a motion, vote to appeal the decision. My problem is that no new evidence can be introduced on our appeal. Therefore, I don't see that the judgment of the court would be affected in any way. But I'm not a lawyer, and I'm not giving legal advice. That's just how I see it, in the fact that it wasn't, I don't see it in the information we were given, and therefore I don't know that the court can address it. But regardless, we're gonna vote on this right now, and then we can open it up to discuss an appeal.
Okay.
So, the chair will accept a motion pursuant to the judgment issued by the land court dated October 27, 2022 in Ironwood Renewables LLC v. Carver Planning Board, Land Court CA 21 MISC 000488, to grant the special permit with the conditions reflected in the decision dated September 14th, 2021. So,
I have a question for Mr. Bott.
please.
Mr. Bott, so it's my understanding that this has gone to court and this has been judged on, and this is being kicked back to us for us to make a decision.
Not necessarily a decision.
Not a decision, but a vote.
Obviously, your options are not to vote, and then, be potentially subject to contempt of court, or an email from town council.
Okay, so I'll make that said motion.
I have a question.
Motion made, motion made by Mr. Robinson,
I'll second that.
seconded by Ms. Sordillo. Now we can open it for discussion.
Mr. Bott, I have a question for you.
Yes, sir.
I was an alternate at the time on this. I never had a vote on this. So can I abstain my vote from this? Since I never got to vote on it?
Well, the suit was against the board, and they named the members of the board. You were on the board as an alternate, you're on the board now. I think that since there is no hearing, if this was a hearing and a Mullen rule, we have a whole onset of things, oh, you missed this meeting, can't vote on that. But in this case, my understanding, you are an eligible voter for this, and you may take whatever vote that you like. I would think if it's a special permit, it still requires a supermajority. So if we
Actually,
have-
actually, in the decision, it states that a majority vote in
Very
favor.
good, thank you for clarifying that.
Yeah.
So, those are your options.
So I can abstain my vote then, and the majority vote still win it,
You
right?
can always vote the way you want.
Well, the reason I bring it up is because I never had a vote on it, and I don't want to vote on something that I never got to vote on. It's like saying, sign for this now, but you never bought it. But you're paying for it. If you understand what I'm saying. That's all. That was my question.
And is this more or less a formal acknowledgement of the judgment of the court?
Like I said, I haven't seen very many of these, but I would venture to say that the permit has not been issued because it didn't get a supermajority vote previously. And so the court is now ordering the board, the town, to issue this permit. So your affirmative vote issues the permit.
All right. If we vote in the affirmative, does that negate our ability to appeal the decision?
No, anybody has 20 days to appeal a decision after it's been filed with the town clerk, or the applicant, or a party in interest. And in the case of another board, they would either ask town council to file an appeal. In the absence of that, they could seek another council if they had funding for it. It's fairly straightforward to me that the responsibility of the board at this point is to vote this decision tonight. And then if you want to, take a second vote to say, we would like to engage town council to consider an appeal of this, and that will go to the town administrator to have that discussion about to what extent they would like to do that. And to the chairman's point, no new information comes in an appeal. The appeal is on the record. So the record was your vote from September 14th.
But we don't have a complete record.
Your record is what was filed on September 14th with the vote of the board. That is what the record is. September 14th decision went to the appeals court and was ruled, against the head.
That was the only thing that was introduced, was the decision.
That's what an appeal's about. We're not litigating a case. We're looking at, here's a decision that's been made. We look at how that decision went down.
Right, so
So
I
the
think,
wording of the decision was,
and part of the issue with that is, we were all pretty new on the board, and we didn't realize we should take the time to quantify our votes.
I don't think that would have made any difference in this, because, like, as Mr. Bott was saying, it was the decision that went in front of the board, and unless we had identified that stuff inside the decision, which we had, at that point, Mr. Mackey had, and I believe it was Mr. Walsh had, they were the ones that were writing everything, and it was not a group effort. We weren't consulted on the reasons why we voted nay.
Well,
And that's,
Because it's,
and we should,
Because it
we should
states-
take that to note, and we took a vote tonight, and we should take the time to qualify our decisions in regards to that. Some of us voted yay, and some of us voted nay, and we should put on record the reasons why we did so. I stated most of my reasons at my vote, but that doesn't mean that I can't put them down in writing and include them with Mr. Bott in regards to the final decision. And it would be the same in this. If you vote yes or no on this, you should quantify your decision in regards to why.
okay?
And it should be done on every vote. All right.
whether you voted yes or no, right?
If you voted yes, you should, after the vote's taken, you can say why, or you can do it during the vote, but you should definitely. Yes, please.
Those reasons, that rationale should be taken up during the discussion.
During the
Move
discussion.
Second discussion, that's when you would
Okay,
take your case for or not.
All right.
Not after the decision, but during that debate.
all right.
To go to the bathroom.
Any further discussion? Because if you wish to express any further concerns,
I have a lot of concerns.
But it is what it is right now, and let's just take that vote.
I think we're kind of backed into a corner on this, and not one of our own making. Although mistakes were made by the board, for sure. Mr. Dion, what is your vote?
Mr. Dion says aye.
John Gasky says nay.
Mr. Robinson?
Mr. Robinson says aye.
Ellen Sodillo says aye.
And Mr. Shea says aye. All right. Planning Director notes, Mr. Bott.
Originally on the agenda, I had hoped to talk about some of the procedural issues we had talked about, but my day got sort of hijacked, not hijacked, because I wasn't in the office a lot last night, but tried to get a couple of things done. So anyhow, no, I don't have anything to say other than got nothing to say. Sorry, that's all I have to say there.
All right. Do we know when the next meeting of the Solar Bylaw Study Committee meeting is?
We are targeting November 22nd, I believe. We'll be back on that Tuesday schedule for typical meetings.
Excellent.
I'm meeting with the chairman and the vice chairman tomorrow. So,
All right.
There was some last meeting,
stuff in this meeting,
this is the stuff for this meeting on this, yeah, it's from last meeting.
I think it's somewhere.
September 27th.
Mr. Pott, do we have an in-service or something?
Sir?
Do we have an in-service or something from now till the 22nd? I thought there was something that we had that was going to have to take place at 5:30 or
We had
6
open
o'clock
meeting law training, that was last week.
last
That
week.
was 3:30 and 5:30.
Okay.
We had some discussions about the schedule, the fall schedule for CPTC, the Citizens Planning Training Collaborative Training Sessions. And those two sessions we had sort of talked about, it seemed like the board wasn't going to be able to attend as a group at those scheduled meetings. As we talked about before, we can always schedule our own training for those sort of things. Because I think that some of those topics we talked about, subdivisions and special permits and variances, would be a great benefit to the board. And for the record, it was a new board, and my opinion remains in that developing fashion.
Now, I plan to attend those. Were those November 11th?
November 30th, I think, is the first one.
Okay.
Yeah, absolutely. They're $30. I mean, there's no better value on the planet than CPTC for training. Find somebody who, I'm going to give you professional training, I'm going to give you an hour and a half of my time, I'm going to give you books and handouts for $30. That's a deal. And it's very handy for the board. So, yeah, we...
No, is this, so I apologize. Is this something that's covered by our budget?
Yeah, we have a budget
Yes.
for
Okay.
training. Yeah.
I think, and I'm not sure about the procedures, but we notified Mr. Bott that we will be,
Yeah, if you let me know, I'll get folks registered for it.
Yeah.
Or it may be that I'll send you a link for you to register, because they're going to send you an email for a link to these, because these used to be in person, but for the most part, they're all webinars.
Okay.
because I would appreciate a refresher email. I know you sent one out.
Will do.
All right, thank you,
Yeah,
Tom.
no, not a problem.
All right.
And we have Mylar here that we voted last week for an A&R plan. We signed paper copies. You guys did great in my absence. And once again, apologize for not being here, being able to make it last week. But we just didn't get the Mylar done. So we've got that here. We'll get that signed up. I'm glad we had to go through. He's so kind.
All right. This is, all right. I just received the meeting minutes from September 27th tonight and haven't had a chance to review them. I don't think any other,
I don't even have them in my packet.
Mr. Chair, we still in discussion, no?
yeah.
Since we're in discussion, have we found out about Tremont Street, about their work that they're doing? I know they came in for a special permit, and it was, they needed to show us that they asked NSTAR to go underground in order to do the cut in their property, to put above ground.
This is 104 Tremont Street.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've been, they're still putting together information from Eversource, because Eversource, once again, sometimes has trouble responding to folks. But they're doing some screening there, in addition to the things that those were one of the things we required for the minor modification.
Well, I know one of the modifications, they had to show that they applied for underground. And I know during, 2 weeks ago when we had N-Star there, they only go according to what they ask for, you know? So, you know, I was just concerned about that.
So I thought it was very interesting that Eversource has said, well, we put in what we got around it. So if we got overhead around us, we put an overhead. But they said, you know, if you want to put it underground, we'll put it underground. I thought they sort of vacillated between the two things.
To me, it was, we don't care what the bylaw says, it's what you propose to us and we'll agree to it. So if the bylaw says everything underground, you gotta propose to them underground. And if they deny, then it can go above ground, but, and that's the way I'm looking at it. They don't care which way they do it, because they don't, each town has different bylaws. And they're not gonna keep track of the town bylaws, you know?
No, but the bylaw does matter. They're going to follow the bylaw because that's what people are supposed to do.
But from what I understand, they weren't following the bylaw, they were going according to what the applicant was
Well,
proposing,
The-
more than anything.
They don't look at the bylaw.
Right.
It's the applicant, it's up to the applicant to submit something in accordance with the bylaw.
Right.
Yeah, I think the bylaw says essentially underground unless there's some constraint by the utility, to paraphrase it in a broad
Something like that, yeah.
terms.
That's all I was just concerned about that outcome right there, that's all. Thank you.
All right. I think that concludes the business of the board tonight, unless I'm missing something.
Oh, I'm gonna do that.
What's that? Oh, I
The
have to
minutes.
get a copy of the minutes, see, we hadn't had a chance to look at them.
So when we last talked about minutes back May-ish or so, we'd asked, do the board members want paper copies of the minutes? And I think everyone said, I'll take them in email except for Rich. So what we have now are 3 paper copies of the minutes. One comes to me, one is for Rich, in case somebody wants to look at them in the meeting. And Michelle has one in her file to make sure that she closes books on those. So we saved a lot of paper.
Yeah.
And I agree, I just never received the digital copy of it, so,
Yeah.
or I
recall-
couldn't
recall-
find it anywhere anyways. So I haven't had a chance to review it.
Can I also bring something up? We had an open meeting violation not too long ago where we were not putting in materials that were presented, and it seems like that has dropped off again. But,
I have not looked at that. copy
materials
draft, but yes,
presented.
we have been adding the list of materials submitted to the minutes when they're filed. So Michelle goes through the books beforehand
Okay.
and makes a list of everything that's in your books. She comes to me and says, what did you sneak in that wasn't in the books? So she can add them to the list.
Okay.
To the best of my knowledge, we've been following that, and that's what we will do.
Yeah, okay. So, like you said, the last couple of them, I didn't see anything on the draft, so I was just making sure that we're
Yeah,
sticking to
we'll,
it.
we'll try to get those together.
Is that my copy or your copy?
That is yours.
All right.
Yes. Also, playoffs on Sunday for the Carver Cowboys. The Mites and the Pee-wees are advancing into the playoffs, and they play on Sunday. So come out and support your footballers.
All right.
Yeehaw.
The board will accept the motion for adjournment.
I'll make said motion.
Motion made by Ms. Sardillo.
Put them down there.
I'm just looking for my.
Do I have a second?
Put it all down there.
Second.
Seconded by Mr. Gatsky. Mr. Dion.
Mr. Dion says aye.
Mr. Gatsky.
Aye.
Mr. Robinson.
Aye.
Ms. Sardillo.
Aye.
And Mr. Shea says aye. Thank you very much.